Good morning and welcome to the Hot Seat Podcast presents Football Talk live, streaming on YouTube and Facebook. I'm your boy Shawn Xavier, and alongside the storyteller. This is where you come in and have some unfiltered, unprofessional football fun, pros and collegiate. We give you guys our unfiltered breakdown, analysis, reaction, and everything else in between. Today, we're going to talk some free agency recap, set up the 2024 NFL draft, talking about who's moving up the big board. I'll be using a lot of PFF today and some other sites as well. I got a lot happening off to my left here. But again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Hope you got your coffee in hand. I got some in my little, Tervis cup here, I guess,
Hot tea today, baby. Hot tea.
Damn, I'll mess up. That's out a long night. This is actually tea. you have
wow.
My mind's coffee. My taste buds like that coffee, sir.
My mind is telling me. Oh, wait a minute. I can't. Yeah, I shouldn't do that one. What's up, Kaleo?
What's going on, Kaleo, man? Of course, the chat is going to be live, man. So we'll do some things here. We'll talk about some merch, all this other fun stuff, man. In the meantime, between time. How we doing, my man? How we feeling?
Feeling good, man. Football, we always say it just never stops. It's the one sport that really doesn't, besides what are we talking? May, June, July. Besides that, and most of us are traveling and doing things. Right. That's it for football, if we're being honest. And honestly, May kind of seeps in there because you're still talking about the draft in May. Yeah. So June and July is the only time period that you're really sitting there like, okay, when this thing's going to start up, because then you're in preseason in August. So I'm excited, bro. I'm just excited for football because I'm seeing so many teams and not just the regular ones making good moves. And that's exciting for all football fans.
Yeah.
Forget the fact of being your own fan of your own team. It's just the fact of seeing certain teams make moves, and you're like, oh, okay, we might have a different story that's out there next year. So no pun intended, but
there was actually a perfect setup. So I'm gonna kind of go out of order here because you said something that actually ties into something we were going to talk about anyway, and then make it move. So some may say it's a good move, some may say it's a bad move. Anyway, this guy's gonna be drafted. Let's talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. And I wanted to talk about him. First of all, if you've been watching the show for the last, several, episodes, that's the player that I want Washington to draft that too. It's not going to happen. But I would love for them to draft him. That's just me. The name says itself, that's Marvin Harrison's boy. And he is his daddy's son and then some. Much taller. I think he's about 6'3", 6'4". Crazy hand, crazy feet, crazy speed. Ohio State groomed. I mean, everything about him is just great, man. And he is the top receiver on everybody's board. I don't care what you're looking at, bro. But there's been a lot of noise made about him skipping the entire draft process. He didn't do any work at the combine, pro day, none of that, man. And what really is standing out to this is people have, if you dive into the social media world, which, a lot of this stuff that happens in the NFL, they can say what they want. It is reactionary to what the fans say in certain aspects. But you see a lot of people talking about, oh, I don't want him on my team. He's not a team player, something like that. Here's my question. The hell does him competing or, attending these workouts and stuff in shorts and T-shirts when you got, 3 years of film to work off of?
I was just about to say that. Number one, just check the film. Right. Anybody that's second guessing Marvin Harrison Jr., check the film. Number two, please doubt him. If he drops the 6, my God. I'm trying to tell you right now. And right now, he's looking like 4 or 5. I don't think he's going to get past 5 because I don't think the Chargers are going to let him go, and I don't think the Chargers are going to trade out.
Right.
But the Cardinals may trade out at 4, so he may drop down to 5 because anybody trading up is coming up to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is very interesting. You're going from a person that we thought over a year ago, hands down, he'll be the number 1, if not the number 2 pick. And now we're like, man, is he going to be in the top 5?
Right.
He's going to be the top wide receiver, but is he going to be in the top 5? So I love it. Yeah, let the stock drop.
Yeah.
And here thirdly, Shawn, real quick.
Right.
Have y'all not seen his family, his dad? Did y'all forget his career? So anything we're thinking about on Marvin Harrison Jr. as far as us second guessing, yeah. Just go check his film too.
Let's bring in Earl and see what he thinks. Let's see what he thinks. Earl.
Hola.
How you doing? How you feeling about this hoopla around Marvin Harrison not attending all of this pre-draft hoopla, combine, and all those other shenanigans?
I mean, why does he have to? I mean, I like the fact that he's controlling the narrative.
Good answer.
I think people go through the motions and they make up these you have to do this,
Right.
But I think Deion showed you back in with the 80s, like, hey, yo, I'm not taking this. I'm not even gonna be here. And he right. If you talented like that, you know what I'm saying, you control the narrative, because at the end of the day, they want you, use them like you using them. So I ain't mad, even with Caleb. I ain't mad at him for not, doing the combine or whatever. So I ain't mad at Marvin Harrison. We seen what he do.
Exactly.
We seen week in and week out what he does. So I agree. He doesn't have to do anything that he doesn't want to do.
Here's something to think about, and I don't know if people think this far in ahead, but this is the way my brain works. For the rookie season, you always hear about the proverbial rookie wall. At some point during the season, they always talk about that rookie wall. It usually happens around week 10, 11, 12, something like that. Okay. So you got this player. You're playing roughly 11 to 12 games, that season. So that this season, your season may go into December, January, maybe, depending on if you play in a bowl game or something like that. Okay. So you do that. Then let's say he was going through all this process to get prepared for the combine and pro days and all this other stuff. So you're in January. Remember, the combine starts in early March. So you're talking about, let's say, mid-January when you finish in your collegiate season and you're preparing for the combine. So you're doing all that. Then after that, it's your pro day, which is later in March. Then the draft comes up in April. Then what people don't realize, just after the draft, rookie mini camps start somewhere in May. That time that, Dave was talking about, we taking, our trips and stuff like that, May. Then they come back. Then you have voluntary workouts and all this other stuff. Then you have training camp. So, and then you got the season starting. I would not do this either if I was a top player, because the most important thing that we all agree on for the body is rest. When you get sick, okay, what kind of medicines they tell you at the end, they say, make sure you rest. Take your medicine and rest. You're a football player. You've been running, you've been getting hit and everything else for month after month. And now they want you to do a song and dance and everything else. When do you rest? I don't care how, highly tuned your body is. The body can only take so much. And then on top of that, were you not watching my film for the last 3 years? What am I going to show you different in the shorts?
Here's another thing though, because it's also by position. Mm-hmm. Okay. What questions at all do we have about Marvin Harrison Jr.?
None.
Not his hands, not his size, not his speed.
None.
I mean, the only thing I honestly don't know about is maybe his blocking, but I mean, I'll get over that. So route running, got no question about it. Seen him compete at a high level in a big, but you see what I'm saying?
You're right, right.
There's no questions. So something's gonna change my mind about him, like you said, in a t-shirt and shorts, not being covered, somebody throwing to me. No, it's pointless. You're gonna push me up higher in your draft stock if I put up 20 times this weight? No. Are you gonna put me higher up there if I'm not 4.3 whatever in the 40-yard dash? No. So why am I doing it? There's no point. There's no point. So
either way, he's going somewhere. I saw his former teammate, because you were talking about them potentially trading back. I'm not sure if that's so certain. Paris Johnson Jr. apparently, it is said that Marvin Harrison wants to be a Cardinal. And will that happen? I don't know. But one thing that may prove that is true is the fact that they did let DeAndre Hopkins go. DeAndre Hopkins probably like the same height as Marvin Harrison Jr., so I can see that happening. But it is said he wants to be a Cardinal. I don't know why. If that will be the last team. But I guess if you're looking at the top 6 teams, the best team out of that would be, what you said, the Chargers would probably be the best one out of the group
out of 4, 5, 6. And that's me being a Giants fan saying that the Chargers would be because they cleared house as far as receiving core. But they already opened up, the Cardinals already opened up to, hey, you give us a good enough offer, we're out.
Right. Yeah.
We're open to a good trade, because this is the other thing that fans got to understand when you get on the business side of things. And that's why sometimes we got to turn off our fanhood in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Is whatever player about to come in and help you compete, or are they just going to be a star on the team? Because I don't have time for stars on the teams. We want to compete. We want to win. So unless that player is going to come in and change things around dramatically, would I rather trade back and get 2 to 3 picks? You get what I mean? Depending on who's jumping up there. Maybe I get 2 picks from this draft and another pick from next year's draft. And if I'm not trading back so far, let's say if the Giants jumped up there to number 4 to get whoever they want, why wouldn't you move back 2 spots to pick up 2 more picks? Why wouldn't you?
True.
There's 3 top receivers out there. Even if you want a receiver, maybe you didn't get Marvin Harrison Jr., but you got Neighbors, you got Rome Odunze. I'm fine if I picked up extra picks. So that's what people got to realize. The name is the name. Marvin Harrison is easily the best one out there as far as wide receiver. But if you're a team like the Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr. coming in there, are you now going deep in the playoffs? Or do you need as many picks as possible? So that's a question too.
Real question before we get off this. How you think your boy Jim Harbaugh will feel about if he does happen to land Marvin Harrison?
He would love it. He would love it.
And
he knows what he's dealt with the last couple of years. He would love it.
And so would his quarterback Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
That is all of a sudden
like Keenan Allen who?
Shoot. All of a sudden they turn into a monster out there. And again, they still got the GOAT out there, the current GOAT out there being Pat Mahomes out there in that division. But
I think now you'll see what everybody barbershop talk, they shouldn't be that bad. Like,
gotcha.
You're going to actually hopefully see them reach the potential that we all knew that they could reach because of, on paper, the talent that they had.
Yeah.
Just didn't have that coaching.
Yep.
They definitely just did not have it. Of course, this is Football Talk live, streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Before we go any further, man, of course, this is all leading up to our big event, April 25th, our 2024 NFL Draft Watchcast, exclusive for our Hot Seat Podcast Plus members. And there might be a little commercial. So yes, April 25th, starting at 7:30 p.m. That's the pregame to the draft that kicks off at 8 p.m. Our 2024 NFL Draft Watchcast, exclusively for Hot Seat Podcast Plus members. And it's not really hard. So you can go in if you decide you want to become a member or a supporter of the show. You can pick your level of support starting at $3, and that will give you exclusive access to events like this. Also, you get 20% off of our exclusive merch, which is our signature graphic tee and our newly dropped THP golf polos as well with the Hot Seat Podcast Plus membership. But the main thing is, man, is joining us for a night of just fun, first round analysis and breakdown and surprise. And I feel like this year is going to be the year that I think last year wasn't a whole lot of trading. I feel like this is the year teams are going to move back and move back in. It's going to be interesting to say the least. And they probably gonna be moving because of how the free agency thing has shaken out. So let's jump into that right now. We want to do some great. We want to talk to who passed and failed, or we want to see who's available still. How do we want to go?
Let's do available first, and then go into.
Gotcha.
Pull up my
So
stuff.
there's been a lot of there has been a lot of movement in this year's free agency market. I think the most active that I've seen in quite some time. A lot of guys got paid. The quarterbacks got paid after a year that they got pretty much pooped on. And some of them you might have said they overpaid for them, so forth. But guys got their bread, man. So what do we got, Dave, as far as our available folks right now? Some of them, some of our top guys.
Let me see. Give me a moment here.
David Bakhtiari out there, but that's contingent on him potentially retiring.
He might be retiring.
I think he's on. If he doesn't, you know who's calling for him.
Yeah,
cool.
He going right.
Gotta be the Jets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you could have Tyron Smith on one side and have Bakhtiari on the other.
But shit, they just brought in Morgan Moses on the right side. They're right tackle.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
because Bakhtiari plays left tackle.
Morgan Moses used to play for Washington.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
he was there when Trent.
Well, you know what? That still may be a good look because let's say if you are pondering retirement, but you love playing with like Aaron Rodgers, somebody like that, and you have a Tyron Smith that's been injured. Hey, what about splitting reps?
Yeah,
you don't even have to be in there every single down. You splitting reps with Tyron Smith. You take a minimum contract, maybe have a chance at going deep in the playoffs. That might be a good look.
Yeah.
You got Hunter Renfrow out there. Mm-hmm. That's a person that kind of weird to me because a couple years ago, wasn't he like the guy?
That's when
out with the Raiders.
His man was out there. That's when Derek Carr was out there. Yeah, with him.
So, he was that guy.
I don't think he's bad. Weird. I just feel like he got to be in the right situation.
That was a coach stuff. Yeah. I think that was because Josh, what's his last name? The coach was out there. The one who got Josh McDaniels out there.
Yeah.
So it was natural that he was going to get that type of play because, of course, that's what all the slot receivers did in New England. So it kind of makes sense that Hunter Renfrow benefited from that setup. For the most
Still
part.
Got Jamal Adams out there,
which is interesting,
safety wise.
Yeah.
Still young.
Come back home to the Jets.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of teams need help in that secondary. So
yeah.
Being one.
He just like you said, the best ability is
availability. That is correct.
Yeah, that's his issue.
Number 4 on the list actually got signed overnight. Xavier Howard, I saw get signed.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, I saw him get signed to the Texans, which is a good move. That is a good look. The Texans, man, we'll get to them, but that grade right there.
Main thing with that is I think there's going to be, as good as he is, I think there's also going to be a level of discipline that's going to come from DeMeco Ryans that Xavier Howard will need. I think he's I guess it's kind of weird. I guess the market he playing in. I mean, Miami, we know Miami for other things, but is it getting the same type of coverage as all the other teams? Not so much. But Xavier Howard has been like that for years. But at the same time, you've also heard a lot of stuff about Xavier Howard. It had nothing to do with football. So maybe him being in Houston and a different.
Let me just make sure real quick because I thought I had seen it. I want to make sure. Oh, hold on.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's saying he's open. Yeah, it'll probably get done. All right.
So Texans just
take a pay cut.
They said he's open to taking a pay cut to go to the Texans.
Okay. Gotcha. So it's not official yet, but that may be a
team he wants to play for. So yeah,
maybe
take. Let's see. Anybody else? Odell's out there.
Yeah, unless the Chiefs swoop in and grab him since they got rid of L'Jarius Sneed. So Xavier Howard.
That is true.
So that could be interesting.
That is true. Where you guys think Odell's going?
He's a work for hire. So he's gonna go somewhere.
It has to be a place that's competing.
Yeah, that's competing. So I can see
goes back to LA and he plays for the Chargers.
Nah,
I was actually just, but I was about to say that as far as since they cleared house,
right?
And I can see like Marvin Harrison on one side.
Yeah, I could see. I don't think he gets signed until camp.
Okay. Okay.
I could see. I could see the likes of like the Chiefs, because they just picked up Hollywood.
Right.
So if they want somebody for cheap, I think he just got to be. Odell got to understand like he's not getting nothing crazy. Like he needs to be fine with the league minimum at this point.
You got paid for 2 years and 1 year by the Ravens. So
Yeah, and
But
then you
here's
still had that Giants. The Giants was paying you, so
and I
you
don't
know
even
that.
think last year was. I believe last year wasn't even on Odell. Odell should have been more productive last year. But as we say all the time, it's how they use players. If you know when we were watching that Baltimore game and outside of them not running, one of the reasons that they weren't getting any passes thrown, everything was long developing plays. What's Odell's best trait? He catches that slant, and it's probably one of the most dangerous cats who does that, and he's out. They did none of that. They did none of that with him. So maybe he goes to your Chargers type spot, end up with the Raiders, something like that, especially if they got a young quarterback, somebody who needs to get those underneath type guys that he's good with. They just didn't use him right in Baltimore last year, I feel like. I don't even think it was about the money at this point. That's just me.
Nah, I think it was about the money. It had to be. I mean, he wasn't going to sign because if that was the case, he would have signed for something less than that, especially coming off an injury. Like he had a good performance in the first half of the first 2 quarters of the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, he was injured. So it was. He definitely wanted the money. He wanted his cake and eat it too. But I think he's at the point, and I think he got to be realistic because I want to say Odell is 31, 31 years old. Face it, he's injury prone. So if you hit him, you hit him correctly, he's gonna be done. Shit, sometimes even if you don't hit him, he can just get up there and line up and come out of his break and something happened. He just injury prone.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
he got to. Yeah, okay.
I know the last talk I heard on him was the Dolphins.
Okay. Nah, and they did that, but I don't think that I think they're moving on. I think that's why I said I don't feel like he's gonna be signed before camp. Like I think he's gonna be an in camp sign or after that. I don't think he's getting signed in this period.
I need him to get signed yesterday because there's a alleged story.
That he come in to y'all?
No. Ain't got nothing to do with football. I just need him to get into somebody's locker room quickly and stay away from that Hollywood stuff that's happening.
It don't matter. He been like that though. Because you talking about the Kardashians?
Oh,
he been like that, bro.
Yeah, get away from that, bro. Just get away from that.
I ain't gonna hold you. I think the worst thing, and this might sound crazy, the worst thing that's happened to him was that catch.
All right, we said that before.
That is the worst thing because he is somebody who, to me, he was more Hollywood than anything. Like you can't sit up here, or maybe the teammates will tell you differently. They'll say, "Oh yeah, cool," but in the eyes of a fan, you look Hollywood to me, bro. Like your antics on the sideline, you fighting the net, the kicker's net, like you know what I'm saying. You
net
look
one,
Hollywood.
by the way, the net one.
Yeah, and the net one, and then it's like all of this stuff outside. You know what I'm saying? The people that you say, and it's your life. Like you can associate who you want to associate with, but it gets to the point where it's like,
all the history.
Is that are you doing this? You still an athlete, or you trying to capitalize off of everything else, which is not a problem, but it's like just remember what your bread and butter is.
There's a player out there that I would like him on our squad. He has now become what better term? A hitter for hire in this case, and that's being Jadeveon Clowney is still out there. He actually had a really good season last year, almost 10 sacks last year with Baltimore, the year prior to that. So he's been one of those guys. I want to say journeyman per se, but those guys, those 1-year deals and something like that. So if you are a contender, to you guys' point, or you're trying to bolster your defensive, pass rush, especially if you got a draft pick this year, I think Jadeveon Clowney would be a good addition to a lot of teams. Washington, just to add him into the room. Perhaps the Giants.
Nah.
I would not like.
Not
I
us.
don't know. I don't know what they be
No.
known. Why?
No.
So
Jadeveon Clowney, and there's no disrespect to him. Jadeveon Clowney fits a mold of a tackle by committee squad.
Mhm.
I think that's why he thrived with the Ravens, to be honest with you. I don't need you to be the guy. I need you to come in, do this, and then get out.
The A guy, not the
Yeah,
guy.
Well, that's what
yeah.
they
And
did,
we are tackling by committee in that sense. On the
Yeah, we're good.
Giants, we need you to be your guy in your position.
Right.
Period.
And that's it.
Yeah, I don't. Jadeveon
I mean-
Clowney, there's spots for him to fit.
Yeah, y'all could use him.
Spots for him to fit.
Y'all could use him. I mean, y'all let go. Y'all let go of a lot of people, so he makes more sense over in your system. He doesn't really make sense over with us.
He may fit like how Chase was going and
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
Chase is the same way to me as long as he stays healthy.
Mhm.
Very similar to
I
Clowney.
actually felt. No, I won't say that. I actually felt like when Chase was healthy, like Chase is different. You know what I'm saying?
But Clowney is too. When he's on the field.
Clowney to me was another person who got overhyped in my opinion based off
by the tackle.
Yeah, like he you can't tell me one season that this man put up real numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like last year was his best year. You know what I'm saying? Like
he had a really good season. If he was in Cleveland, I think.
Let's look.
I don't think that was last year was his best season.
I think last year was his best.
9.5 sacks last season, but I think he had a solid season in Cleveland. I think. He didn't play so many places, so don't even give me the line where else he was at. But I feel like Cleveland was one. No Baltimore. Of course, he played in.
He had 9 sacks with the Browns in 2021. He had 9 sacks with the Texans 2018. He had 9.5 with the Texans 2017. So 17 and 18 were good years with the Texans.
Then he got some injuries.
Yeah, because he only played 7 games. Yeah, I mean,
that's not.
He's had 1, 2, 3, 4 good.
4.
Yeah, and he's 31 years old, so he's been good enough to stay on the roster. You can't even remotely say that about Chase Young.
I would say, I'll take that back. Yeah, with them 2 years with the Texans, he did do his thing.
Yeah. Speaking of Chase, man, he's there's a lot going on with him, and I hate to see it. This is one of those times where the hype is what the hype was, but his undoing, I hope it doesn't happen, man. But so far, it's pointing towards injury because now he's going to be going out to get a neck procedure. And whenever they say that, bro, if somebody cut
Chase Young.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So that happened when we were last on the pod, and it came up really quickly, and I saw it, but we'd already got off the podcast, and so he had signed that 1-year deal, and then it came out that he's going to be going in for a neck procedure or something that's going to probably keep him out for the off season, but he'll be back in time for training camp, perhaps. But if you remember, prior to, outside of the knee thing, remember it was 2 years ago when he was in Washington, they had issue with like that stinger. They called it. They kept saying it was a stinger, this, there, something like that. And I'm assuming this is what that relates to. But anytime somebody got to put a knife or anything, do something to your neck, you can word it how you want. That ain't a good look. So whether it's a disc,
that's a person that you're gonna get off a great between injury, and I mean that's a person. If we talk about Clowney not putting up numbers, Chase hasn't put up numbers since his first year.
Rookie season. That's it. That COVID.
That's
year.
it.
That's it, man. That's it.
That's it. I'm looking at the stats right now. I mean, it's not there.
Yeah, and even looking at stats, the game itself has not evolved for him. Like he doesn't have those moves. It's like, hey, I'm going straight for the pass rusher. If I get stunned by that tackle, he doesn't have anything else, which means that you're not bending around the corner, something like that. Again, and this goes to the point where
no Diddy. Ain't that what they say? Good.
Okay.
I don't know who you bending around what corner.
No Diddy on that one.
I got it.
Go look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Go
ahead. Yeah, no Diddy.
This is the part where draft eval and actually having a good scouting room comes into play, because issues that you see with players, it was like that in college too. Mind you, remember, people get hyped up about some of this stuff. Remember, these guys are still playing with other college kids, keyword kids, at the end of the day. NFL is a grown man sport. They got that, 3-year period, 2 or 3 year period for a reason. Like, ain't nobody, the last person who tried to challenge that were Maurice Claret at the time. And, there was a different time, different era. He was built different. But for the most part, no one's coming out of high school or 1 year college, man, right now to be ready for the NFL.
See that, and that's why it's so different. Think about it, bro. There's been people that have been Heisman winners, the best in all of college sports in their position, and they come into the NFL and they disappear.
Done.
You are honestly playing against the best of the best, and I'm talking about people you never even heard about. Some of these offensive linemen and defensive linemen, you may have never even heard of them, but they are the best of the best. You're talking about 300+ pound men that run under 4 seconds in a goddamn 40-yard dash, and they're coming at you full speed, ready to kill you. And there's been plenty of people that we were so excited about, and people get drafted and they come into the league, and you're like, that's not it. That's not it.
I got a name for you. Think about if you're this stalwart of a defensive tackle, linebacker, something like that. All right. So you're charged with, you've been known in college, you're the man to stop the run, this, that, and the other, third. And you're thinking after your first year, I'm just that guy. And I'm gonna take you back to an old school name. And you thinking, I'm just gonna get to the line and get to the running back, so forth, so on. And you run up against the likes of a Mike Allstott. Huh? You were talking about running numbers. I watched that workout. Them motherfuckers out there pushing cars during the off season through a cornfield. That's the training that they do. They ain't in no workout performance center. They doing things that is built like Rocky Balboa, punching meat, paws, all type of stuff like that.
No diddy.
Oh my God. So again, like for the
bro,
team,
like what's his name? Me bringing him up, he was something because I hate the team, but Moose back there with Dallas. I mean, you had to get past that line, which was crazy, and then you still couldn't get to the quarterback because Moose had you. So we missed those today because we don't talk about fullbacks or we don't talk about blocking running backs that are out there and stuff like that. That's why I even brought up the thing about Marvin Harrison Jr. There were wide receivers that were good blockers. There's tight ends that people draft that are very good blockers. They might not do much in the pass game, but they're there to block, because maybe you have a big run game or maybe your quarterback is real mobile and stuff like that. So these are the positions that don't get enough credit. But when you see that your offense is collapsing, 9 times out of 10, it has to do with the blocking.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It has to do with the blocking. If you got a fast enough back and things like that, or agile back, if you got blocking, you will turn somebody that you never really known of into a star. And we've seen it happen over and over again.
Every running back who played in Denver during the Mike Shanahan era. Every single one of them, every single year. Like
into a star.
Every year. So let's talk about some free agency aspect, man. Who passed and who failed? There was a lot, there was a lot of moves made this free agency year. And one, the guards got paid. We're talking about those blockers, that interior lineman, they got paid this year. And you got the running backs, they got their play. You got some guys who got some contracts. You're like, I don't know. But what do you guys got?
Guards got paid crazy. I think tackles. I mean, not tackles. I think DTs got paid.
Look at the guard market. They got bread this year. Yeah, the guards
got paid.
They definitely got paid. So we're looking at. Let's look at. We want to go like what some of the ones who they deemed to have failed this offseason, perhaps.
I'm just looking at the.
You already know who's at the top of that.
Well, they got an incomplete. According to USA Today,
ain't incomplete.
They got an incomplete.
Ain't no incomplete. Yeah, but how you gonna say incomplete when that is the how can I say it? That comes up from decisions that you made beforehand.
Yeah, that's not an incomplete.
Your money problems is from what you did beforehand. Exactly. So don't look at it as just a off-season thing. You knew it was coming.
Right.
You knew this was happening. So
Yeah.
no.
And there was things that you could have done in the season to prepare for this. So like,
Yeah.
there's no
I ain't trying to hear that.
They reworked Dak's contract to say free up another $4 million. He's still
Did
like a
they?
$56 million.
Still ain't doing nothing. Still ain't doing nothing. It still ain't doing nothing.
For somebody that ain't getting you out of the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Dallas, they do draft well. Now, how they manage these picks after they have them is a different story, but they do draft well. I forget the name of the guy that they have there who's been in that organization for eons. That he is a great talent evaluator. Just give him, I forget his name, I have to pull it up on there, but they won't let him go. He's been there for a while. So he sees talent, but what happens on the field, that happens once Jerry gets involved with how the coach and how stuff, should be done and so forth and so on, yada, yada, yada. The lowest grades that I saw kind of averaging out was one being the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it was somebody else outside of them. Jacksonville and the Carolina Panthers.
I don't know.
Yeah, those were the two that had, I guess the worst free agency. I don't think nobody really want to go to Carolina because their owner has now completely taken the position of one that was occupied by Dan Snyder. Tepper, the worst owner, or we throwing drinks in the faces of fans, all type. This is wild. And you got a 5'10" quarterback who weighed about 180 some pounds that you can't protect.
That's what they wanted.
Yeah, and you got that going on. You had a whole staff in there last year, that all-star head coaching staff, and none of that we fired everybody. You're still paying Matt Rule, who was the coach there 2 years ago, who went back to Nebraska, and you still paying his contract, and they did nothing in Carolina. But let's talk about Jacksonville. So they did lose their receiver, but they did bring in somebody to replace him per se in Jacksonville.
Talking about Gabriel Davis?
Yeah, they brought in Gabe Davis, but is that an upgrade from letting Calvin Ridley walk?
For what Calvin Ridley was asking for. Some of these receivers got some money that I'm just sitting there like, once again, did you watch the film? Like, they were good, don't get me wrong, but damn.
They making the quarterbacks, though. Here's the thing. They are making these quarterbacks get these numbers. Outside of Pat Mahomes and a couple of these guys, these receivers are making these quarterbacks. Shout out to Stephon Diggs.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, they bring in Eric Armstead. They got on there. Ezra Cleveland. But what's the ceiling for the Jaguars at this point? Because we thought last year was going to be their year to really pop, and Sunshine looking real bad, man. Like, he's regressing.
I don't think that as a move, I don't think overall that they made bad moves. But I do think that they need to ask a real question about Sunshine. And it's funny because I just seen a comparison. Stats for Sunshine and Daniel Jones, and it's scarily similar. And I really didn't have an argument. I was sitting here thinking about it. I was like, I really didn't have an argument of who was better. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have literally their records are almost identical. Their stats are almost identical. And I couldn't tell you who was really better. So I think they got a bigger issue over there. Now, do I feel like the upside is leaning in Sunshine's favor over DJ, in my opinion? Yes.
We're talking about Trevor Lawrence, by the way. Anybody wonder who Sunshine is?
Trevor Lawrence, yes. The reason being is just because Daniel has some significant injuries. Trevor got injured last year. but I don't think he's only missed what, one game, something like that.
I think so, yeah.
In this Cowboys, and that's you got to add a couple millions for durability. You know what I'm saying?
But see, that's the thing on what Earl is saying. You got to protect your investment.
True.
Right.
And he was getting rocked, bro. And when you're getting rocked like that, you know, not saying I was a quarterback or anything like that, but I do know this: the mental is a very powerful thing.
Absolutely.
And we always make the joke, Earl and I always make the joke about Eli at the end of his career. He always had that time clock in his mind. 1, 2, 3, I'm going down or getting rid of the ball. One of the two. Nobody even had to touch him. You would see him just
somebody.
But you can tell by his body language. Shit.
Because you know, when you're playing behind a line like that, you're like, all right, I only have X amount of time. With him getting hit like that, and they addressed it a little bit over the off season, but I don't think enough. You know, you get that time clock, and you're just like, you start feeling things that aren't even there, especially on your blind side where you can't see. Just a little gust of wind, you're like, oh, gotta run. Like, ain't nobody there, bro. That was your running back running past you. Like, you don't even. So when that mental goes, man, it's tough. Especially from just getting punished like that. It is tough.
There's been more quarterbacks destroyed in the NFL than developed.
Hands down.
Yeah, and he has all the tools, man. He's one of those, you see Trevor Lawrence, man. He is what the prototypical NFL quarterback should look like. You know, dude, I mean, he's what, 6'4", 6'5", got the chiseled skin, you got the chin, got the hair, everything else. Like, what the hell?
You got a lot of no ditties, boy. You got a lot of no ditties.
That's what whenever the NFL wants a face of the quarter of the league,
train to Paris over here,
look,
man.
You know, but I'm just saying, whenever they show a replay or like a montage or whatever of the Jaguars, they always show Trevor Lawrence with his helmet off and he's running, but it be in slow motion, so the hair be flowing back. And I'm like, what are we doing right now? Like, what are we doing? So, and they want them to be good so bad. I wanted the Jaguars to be good last year, and you have a quarterback, a coach who is a quarterback developer and whisperer, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, man. Like, there was a lot of games last year, like specifically the one that I watched when they played the Chiefs at the beginning of the season, where Jaguars should have blown them out the building. And Trevor Lawrence, man, was just missing Calvin Ridley in the end zone, like overthrowing him. Like, if the end zone was about 3 yards, deeper, then it would have been touchdown after touchdown. But its inaccuracy and everything else is bad. And to your point, Earl, the stats, what did it say? They are what you are what your stats say in most cases, in this particular case for the quarterback. And he's not as athletic as a Daniel Jones, but it ain't a good look when they throwing you into the same conversation as a one Daniel Jones, who the Giants like, nah, we don't even want no part of that no more. As far as pass, man, who you guys got won free agency this year? What do you guys think about?
I mean, I don't think it was one team that said, hey, like hands down. So I could say it was a committee of teams. I will say that as much as it hates me, the Eagles have done a phenomenal job. Again, I'm trying to understand how are they moving? What money magic do they have?
Right.
But they filled, they filled in holes, like they filled in some gaps, like with the whole Saquon situation. I mean, some may call it an upgrade, some may not. Me personally, as a Giants fan, and has nothing to do with me wanting to keep Saquon, because me and Dave already talked about this, and if you listen, you understand. Like, we wasn't married to the man. Pause. But I just thought economically and just effort and production, I thought that they had somebody there that was cheaper and Swift, and he was younger. But they made other good picks. I mean, free agency pickups by Devin White. He ain't cost a grip. They bought back Gardner. Was it Gardner from Detroit?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They picked up receivers and things of that nature. So they they did what they were supposed to do, and that defense is tough. It's just all about more so. I want to see now. Next year is really going to be the real test because they got to pay a couple people. So I really want to see what happens. But I think they did. I even throw in the Giants. You know, at first, that first couple hours, it was a little, it was a little shifty. And I was a little nervous. But overall, Shane and Debo, you know, they attacked and addressed like a lot of the needs, especially in that offensive line. Like we got guards and we got backups, so I like that. And we ain't overpay. You know, got our defense got even better. You know, especially that front seven got even better. Like I said, our biggest question mark is always going to be the quarterback situation. But overall, I thought that was good. I thought the Texans made some good moves. I thought you guys actually did pretty good in free agency as well. Who else?
Mama, we got linebackers.
Yeah. You got a line. You have an offense. You know who else I thought did pretty good too? I thought the Jets did very good as well. The Jets guys, you know, they made some moves on the line. You know, I think they got a decent backup. Even though he's old, I still feel like they need a quarterback, but I think they got a decent backup with the Tyrod Taylor and a couple other little moves in between. But more importantly, that line, I think that line gotten better.
Gotcha. What you got, Dave?
Oh, and the Bears. I'm sorry. The Bears did phenomenal.
I got yeah. I got some of the same ones, so I'll just repeat. There's two teams, one of them that didn't even make that many moves, but they really didn't have to, and one that is just constantly making moves. So the one that didn't make that many moves, but is scary, is Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
If you saw how they ended the season, and then to now have they re-signed AJ Dillon, and who else did they bring in as the running
Jacobs.
back? Yeah, and they got Jacob. That's a two-headed monster, man.
Yeah,
crazy.
They didn't even have to do much like that. Green Bay scary.
They got the
team.
I remember they were the youngest team in the league too. So, yeah.
So now another team that did make moves and still making moves and is very scary is the Texans. I know you already mentioned them, so I'll just say quickly, like that's a team that you know how you know a team is scary when players like an Xavier Howard go, "I'll take a pay cut to come there," because they already see the projection, they see where you're going. To add Daniil Hunter and stuff like that, they see where you're going. That's a team. Look out between those Texans and the Packers. Very, very big moves there. Another team that I'll put out there that went from honestly nothing to something overnight was the Steelers. They went from a quarterback room that had nothing to, man, we about to compete between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. That's a pretty good quarterback room. You know, they lost Deontay Johnson. I think they're gonna pick up something in the draft. Patrick Queen is nothing to laugh about. I mean, he's nothing. You're gonna see the Ravens are gonna feel that. Yeah, the Ravens are gonna feel that loss. And remember, the Steelers already had a dominant defense, so to add him in there, shoo. So I really like what the Steelers have done. There's other teams out there. I really like you said, what you guys have done, because you guys had a lot of gaps to fill with all the money, and you guys didn't even have to move that much money to make the moves that you've done. So that was huge. If I'm talking about the Giants, I give them a B. A lot of the Giants stuff is much bigger than free agency, like I've said to you guys offline. So they're kind of a combination grade for me, because that grade can drop down to a C-D if they don't do what they need to do in the draft. So their grade is really out there to be determined. I'll put it that way. But as of right now, I'll give them a B. Other team, well, those are I'll just put those out there as my top teams. Everybody knows the Eagles always do what they need to do. So
one team that you said they passed, but you know, I think you can. But a D is well, at least when we grew up. I don't know what the grades are now. But a D was passing when I was in school. But I'll give him like a C for the most part.
Not
You're
in my
right.
house.
A D was not passing. It's not passing.
I
It
mean,
never has been, and it never will
You
be.
walk
I don't know
in
what
the
you're
door with that in my house.
talking- Yeah, I don't know.
not in the house.
Don't
Now, in the
spew
school.
that.
In the
No,
school.
in the ski
I
system,
got
D
you.
is not passing.
Cam,
It's not
Oh,
passing.
Cam, don't listen to your uncle.
Yeah, that's
School
not.
system.
As an educator, D is not
School.
passing.
Yeah.
C is passing. D is not passing, buddy. It's a polite F.
Right.
It's a polite F. Okay.
A
We
team
just
that
want you out
got
of class.
a C, C minus, and I don't even know it's more so about their free agency, but the move, everybody is kind of like looking at it in a way that it's going to be a game changer, and I don't think so. And I'll say the Ravens. That Patrick Queen miss was big, but the addition of Derrick Henry, it was like, okay. And it's the reason why, because you've added him, has nothing to do with his age, nothing like that. It's like, what you going to do with him? How you guys going to use
They
him?
already had a run game.
Yeah, they had
didn't
the
add
best
none.
run game in the league, and decided not to do it.
That's why I said I didn't understand that. It was like you were going for the name
Yeah.
opposed to like let's being smart. You had a three, and you got the young boy over there, they rookie who stepped in when Edwards
Oh, you see,
and
he got injured.
JK
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
and JK got injured.
Yeah,
but it's crazy because JK and Edwards are nice. You know what I'm saying?
And
then they can't. Yeah, but then you got this young boy he was kicking up, and then I think didn't he get injured?
Yeah, he tore his ACL in the season, so he was out. And here's a couple of things that people miss. They had the number one running attack. They've had the number one running attack in the league for like the last 4 or 5 years, bro. But guess who's leading the team in rushing every single season? Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Every year. He is their leading rusher. One, because as you were just pointing out, Earl, that the running backs keep getting injured. So is that going to change this year with Derrick Henry? Are they going to give him that ability to run? Because Derrick Henry can start off strong, and then he kind of tailors off at the end of the season, depending on how they use him. And two, they had Odell, who they didn't use right. So now they're kind of back in the same position that they were going into the season. They got an undersized receiver. Zay Flowers is nice, but he's not a big receiver. They brought back Mark Andrews, who comes off a season. He's getting old. And we saw, to Dave's point, they started him in that championship game and forgot that they had a tight end. I forget his name right now, if you guys remember.
Likely,
who had been playing. Yeah, likely. They barely used him. So you kind of see already.
Nah, well, I got to disagree. I feel like Likely got used when Andrews is out. But if we want to say the whole receiving, so I'm not going to say that he didn't get used. He did get used. The biggest problem in Baltimore is that, Lamar's not throwing the ball, in my opinion, as much as he should be. You know what I'm saying? He ain't have no excuse last year. Like he had Zay Flowers, he had Odell, he had Likely who stepped in marvelously for Andrew for Andrews or whatever. And even when Andrews came back in that last playoff game or whatever, and I was like, man, I hope they don't change up what they've been doing and kind of shelf Likely because he's been doing this thing and he's young. So I just feel like they just not throwing enough. So Derrick Henry, that's great and all. Yeah. But the biggest thing is Lamar need to really throw the ball. They can have all these weapons, and if you can't just do it on the ground. Like I don't want my quarterback to be the leading rusher. I'm good. Like
I'll say this, Earl. Not weapons. How about the right type of weapon? I mean, what's that old adage? You bring a knife to a gunfight. A knife is a weapon too. But if I got a gun, we can see, unless you real nice with it. But you see what I'm saying? So like,
I think he had the right weapons. I just felt like he just ain't using.
Yeah, we already pointed out that they flip script when they face certain teams, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and we always said just do what you've done to get yourself there.
Right,
and they totally changed it up. Now, think about this. We were all excited about the Ravens last year going into the season because of what? They added a passing
They added
game.
some what? Right.
Well, Odell's gone. Duvernay's gone. You got Zay Flowers.
Bateman may not be.
You see what I'm saying? Mark Andrews is there, but he's coming off injury from last year.
Yep.
You know, I do like Likely.
Right.
Maybe they should start looking into systems like New England used to run with the two-headed monster of 2 tight end sets.
Exactly.
You know, but these are all because you don't have enough receivers to spread the field. But this is, and I'm sorry to say it because I really like him as a coach, it's as much as a coaching problem as it is just the players.
Yep.
It's a coaching problem.
So, Dave, I had a question for you with that because we was talking about this offline, right? So, your beloved Michigan, right, was coached by who last year?
Harbaugh.
Right. His brother is coaching in Baltimore, right?
Yep.
I respect him because they tailored the offense around Action Jackson, right?
You're right.
But you just got me thinking that you just said something. You said they switch up when they play certain teams.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it seems like that's a thing because that's also what happens with Michigan and JJ. You could look at JJ one game, he'll throw it. He could throw it like 300 something yards, like with no problem. But then you look at him in another game and he's barely getting 100. So I'm glad that you did say that coaching has an impact. And this is not me saying that Harbaugh is a bad coach. Absolutely not. It's asinine. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel like they change up stuff too much to where now you're not really utilizing your weapons. It's like you're playing too much to that team and you're taking your weapons out of the game. And I think that got to change.
And see, this is the difference between the two on the switch up, though. And then go ahead, Shawn, right after this. On Jim Harbaugh's side of things, Michigan side of things, in college, most likely when you're switching up, there's two things he does. He does it specifically to that team,
right?
As far as what is a deficiency in that team. Okay, we've been throwing the ball, but we're gonna run. We're gonna run. We're gonna run.
Yeah.
Or it's that halftime adjustment. You'll see Michigan play one way during the first half, and then that second half, it is totally different. And that's adjustments. That's the whole thing of being a real good coach. We've always said there's a difference between the NCAA and NFL.
Yeah.
And in that coaching, while you're making that switch in the NFL, the other person's making the switch too.
Yeah.
The other person is making a crazy switch.
Mid-game.
And for some reason, the Ravens, specifically when they play teams like the Chiefs and stuff like that, they come in with a game plan, even in the beginning, that's nothing like what got them there.
They be overthinking it.
Nothing like what got them there. And you can see they're so antsy and stuff. And then it frustrates me because I'm like, it's one thing if you beat me at my strength. If you just beat me at my strength of what I've been doing all year, you were just a better team.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I'm sitting back and I'm in that locker room and I'm looking at the rest of my teammates and I go, damn, we didn't even play our game. Like, this wasn't it. That's a different feeling. It's one thing to say, hey, I lost, but we gave our best. There's another thing like, that wasn't us. And now you got a whole off season to think about it. And how many times has that been the Ravens story? Something has to change.
You guys brought up I thought Earl was going to go into the take, but he didn't. But he brought him up. Jim Harbaugh. That was the other team that I think they did better in free agency than the moves would tell you. You know, they came in capped out. Their cap situation was hell. You know, so but
their whole damn offense was gone.
Yeah, but what you get in when you hire Jim Harbaugh, you understand that coming in that he is the guy. He's going to bring his GM with him. He has that control. He has the proven track record that he's going to win. So they went in. Of course, naturally, they're going to ask guys, hey, will you take pay cuts? Some of them did, like Khalil Mack and those guys did. Keenan Allen was like, nah, which I respect that. But what they've also done is Mike Williams, you know, lost him and stuff like that. But what you do know is they already had a pretty good team. it was just underperforming, capped out, and he's going to build that. They're going to draft well. He's going to make Justin Herbert even better. There's a running game coming. The defense is going to be stout. But I realized something the other day, and this is like a sneaky good move, and I didn't know it happened. Greg Roman, he didn't link back up with Greg Roman. Greg Roman is the OC with the Chargers. Greg Roman was with Jim Harbaugh when they was in San Francisco. Now, mind you, Greg Roman was the OC in Baltimore. That didn't work out because it just wasn't a good fit. I think him being Greg Roman having all the power on the offensive side and not having to really kind of like answer per se to anybody, I think that was his undoing because it was too unbalanced. But Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, the Chargers may be very, 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 very good, better than it was last year because I think they're going to take the.
They ain't hard to beat.
Yeah, they're going to not have Justin Herbert throwing 50 times a freaking game. I tell you that much. So, and you're looking at guys like the running backs that are going to go late. So I can see. I think I said it before. I can see Blake Corum easily making it to the Chargers. This is a wide receiver rich draft, so he's going to get his Michael Crabtree type or whoever his guys. He's going to get the guys he needs. He's going to get he got a blocking tight end as well. They're going to be physical. They're going to play, and it's going to be tough sledding, man, for that AFC West division, to say the least. So I'll give them a B. As far as the Commanders, I give them an A just off of the strength of they flipped that whole roster, bro. They flipped the whole roster. They did something that I don't know why they did for long. They finally got linebackers. Frankie Louvu. And I think he's the first, don't quote me. I think he's the first Pacific Islander that Washington has had. Maybe in my lifetime. I don't know for sure, but they have a certain affinity for the Pacific Islanders who play in the league. They play different. Like if you go, they play different. Whether you're talking about the Haloti Ngata's of the world, the Vita Veas, you're talking about the greats like Troy Polamalu and those guys. They play football the way it's supposed to be played, and their careers are typically long. I'm excited for them. And then they bring in Bobby Wagner, who's going to be a great addition on the veteran side. They just got veteran leadership in there. I like it. We'll see what they do at quarterback. They traded Sam earlier than I thought. I thought they would trade him. I didn't think they would trade him that fast. But hey, they got a third for him, and he was the fifth. Somebody doing something right. Questions, concerns, complaints? Anybody else?
I wouldn't have gave him an A. I thought they had a good free agency, but I wouldn't have gave him an A. But that's me. I mean, I'd have gave him a B+.
Fair enough. I say it's still passing. It's still passing. So we were talking about one thing that we were talking about a veteran in Bobby Wagner transitions to a veteran, stout, Hall of Fame, everything, who announced he's retiring, man. Aaron Donald, the great Aaron Donald, retired. And I think the best thing that happened to him, man, was the fact that he did get his championship. I feel like if he did not get that championship, he will be one of those guys that it's like, yeah, he was great, but they didn't put that same extra stank on it. But the fact that he got his ring and he wasn't there as like, I got it and I rode along for it. No, he was the ride. So what'd you guys take, man, on his retirement? And just your impression of Aaron Donald, which low key, I feel like he has always been like, underestimated or like really not talked about until, he really got into the last few years in the Rams.
Aaron Donald is one of the best football players I've ever seen play. So as far as people underappreciating him,
right?
I think it's more off the fact of the non-talk and exposure of his teams throughout the years into the end.
Got you. Yeah.
But him by himself, no, he's always been a problem. Let me just go through something real quick. Sacks, 111 in his career.
Yeah.
I'm going to run down just numbers from rookie. up. 9 sacks, 11 sacks, 8 sacks, 11 sacks, 20.5 sacks, 20 and a half, 12 and a half, 13 and a half, 12 and a half, one off year with 5 and then 8. I'll take that any day. And you're at a position where when you seen the stuff that I just added up, you already know he's being double teamed. You already know he's being chop blocked. This ain't nothing that you're coming from the outside and you could just come around, hook your arm and get around with speed or something like. No, this is me and you. We're going at it, mano y mano. And if not the best, one of the best to ever do it at that position. I mean, bruh, he was sick. Mind you, let's go back to that Super Bowl. He won that.
Yeah.
He won that. If you ever heard the talk at the end of the game on that last drive, and he said, I got it.
Oh, get himself hyped up. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, don't worry about it. Ain't nothing happening here. I got this. And he took over.
Yeah.
He took over. There's not too many people on the defensive side specifically that can take over a game by themselves.
Right.
And he was one of them. Now, not being biased, my most favorite and most dominant defensive player, you already know.
That's a fact.
That
That's
is
the
me.
most dominant. Yeah.
I mean, just scary. Half the reason because he honestly legally shouldn't have been on the field. But that's neither here nor there. And I won't even go into that first. But yeah, I mean, when people put that fear of God in you, Aaron Donald was one of those people.
And
so,
to your point, real quick, he played the position of defensive tackle. He wasn't a defensive end. He was a defensive tackle.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
An undersized defensive tackle. He's 6'1", 280. Just to point that out real quick. But go ahead.
Yeah.
What you got, Earl?
I think Aaron Donald is a problem. Like, I mean, you ask anybody who lined up across from, they'll tell you, like, yo, he was a handful. You know what I'm
Team light skin.
He was an absolute handful. I mean, he's from an area. He's from an area in the country that breeds football players. Like, me going to school out there, I understand what that mentality is like out there. Like, that's what they do. That, especially in Western PA, that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely understand. One of the things I will say though, and I want people to chill out. I think this is the time to have a conversation about it because now his career is over. But I think we be so quick to, I'm not talking about us, but I'm just thinking like media and other people just be so quick to start comparing them to other greats. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. And I'm like, yo, relax for a little bit. That's just like when they try to compare Parsons after 1 year to LT. Like, chill the fuck out. Chill out. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Donald had a phenomenal career, right?
Yeah.
But Aaron Donald only played 9 seasons? Okay. Mm-hmm. And you talking about some of the people that they keep disrespecting. Like, I don't know why, because he's damn sure Aaron Donald is not the best defensive lineman that ever played. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, one of the best, and who's always going to be ahead of him is Reggie White. I need y'all to understand, yo, Reggie White played 15. He played 15 seasons. Okay, 15 seasons, bro, with 2 or 3 different teams. I think Carolina was his last team. Yo, in 15 seasons, do y'all understand? He damn near averaged. He had out of all in 15 seasons, I want to say, I think it was most of them seasons, it was double-digit sacks. He had about maybe 3 seasons where he had under 10 sacks. That's hard to do.
The only thing is different position, though, Earl.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm at the end there, I'm just talking about the defensive line. I ain't talking about DT versus N. At the end of the day, I'm just saying on the defensive line, like he ain't the best. He ain't the best. Like, and there's other cats even before that. Like we got to start paying attention to. Like, he's dope. Don't get me wrong. Aaron Donald's dope. He's a first round Hall of Famer. But he ain't the best that ever did it. Okay. And Reggie played in the time where it was way more grittier. Like, now you breathe on somebody like, yo, nah, can't do that.
Reggie White.
You can't.
The only
I'm sorry,
one,
Reggie.
Reggie White, the only one did his thing and prayed for you after he hit you.
Well, that came later. That wasn't in the beginning. He was the Lord was still working on him at that point, but that came a little bit later in his career.
I mean, I get what you're saying, Earl, but I will say Aaron Donald, as far as this generation, he is by far the best defensive lineman there is, bar none. And two, most, the thing that stands out the most, he did it being much smaller than your traditional defensive lineman. Mind you, that gave him a lot, gave him a lot of advantage because, of course, he was much more twitchier and stuff like that. But you've seen pictures where you had two offensive linemen, not a tight end and a lineman, but two offensive linemen double teaming Aaron Donald to keep him from coming through the line, bro. You talking about roughly 600, maybe almost 700 pounds, double teaming this 6'1", 280-pound, like just
man, it's all muscle.
Guy, man. It's
all
crazy.
Muscle.
Yeah, we saw that during the championship parade, and it was out there. I'm like, yo, if it was the NBA, they'd be like, yo, we need to test you right now. On the when you see them in the pads, they look a lot more bulkier and stuff like that. But then you see them at the parade, you be like, bruh, yo, he's, as they would say, So again, man, he gets out at the right time. It looks like, I know he had some injuries, but at the end of the day, he gets to walk away on his own terms. And he's still young, man. He's what, 30, 32 years old.
So real quick, just going by position, just to
Yeah.
put out there some greats real quick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
Okay. Mean Joe Green. John Randall. If y'all remember John, another person.
He plays golf now.
Cortez Kennedy. Does he do it with the face paint? Warren Sapp.
Gotta love you. I love
his
you.
numbers wasn't he was dope, but his numbers wasn't Aaron Donald.
So, but just telling you in that sense, some of those people. I definitely put him up there with those tops at that position. When we start going outside of that position, yes, I can name some players that, especially defensive end wise, that were just treacherous. I mean, I know you talked about Reggie White. I mean, people forget about what's his name? Shoot from the Bills. Bruce.
Bruce. Bruce Smith.
Bruce Smith. He was sick too.
Yeah,
he was sick too. Remember that team went to 4 chips in a row, never to be repeated. The greatest team to never win.
That's a feat. And those teams was crazy, but they just happened to run into the wrong NFC squad. That's just
every time,
every single time,
every time.
Giants, Dallas twice, and then you had Washington. They were like, bro, that's when NFC was East.
They hated the East.
And they lived on the East. Like,
They hated the East.
Either way, man, it's salute to Aaron Donald, man, for putting together a hell of a career. I think the next person up, he's in that line with the JJ Watts, and eventually you'll see these other guys start to make their way. The thing with them, man, there's very few people in football, because it's such a team sport. He's one of the very few individually can change the game and will change the game. Like, you know what? I'd be damned that we gonna go out like this. Not too many guys.
There's only a few players that qualify for this.
Yep.
As soon as you are done, as long as you guarantee not coming back, let's just go right into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right there. Just give it.
These are ones that I have no questions on.
Yeah.
There'll be some people that I'm just like,
really a little bit.
Her cousin's gonna be there. Don't worry about it. His agent at least.
Oh no, well his agent is first ballot.
I said his agent gets in before him.
Yeah, he don't need to wait.
Let's roll right into it, because some of these young men, they may need to get Kirk Cousins' agents. Now, we're preparing for the NFL draft, which starts on April 25th, and there's a lot. This is a very good draft, man, all the way around. It's a lot of key positions are available. I don't remember seeing a wide receiver draft this good in quite some time. And they're legit. They ain't no bunch of fly-by-night guys. This is legit. But let's talk about the I guess the bride of the belle of the ball, rather, the quarterbacks. So right now, according to a lot of people's big board, and PFF is what I'm using right now, your top three quarterbacks: Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. Who's not in that picture right now is one Dave's former quarterback in Michigan, JJ McCarthy, who has moved up quite a bit. He is the only one out of all of these guys who's has experience in a pro style offense. He played for Jim Harbaugh. He did not throw the ball a lot. To Earl's point, game to game, that those teams were built to morph into what was needed for that game. But no doubt he has an arm. He has a good mental. And my concern is that with them moving him up so high, I would hate to see, and again, they're grown young men at the end of the day, but they get him up in New York, but he doesn't get drafted in the first round. Kind of like Will Levis, and he's much better than Will Levis, I believe. But he's sitting there, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we think you're going to go here," and then after the first round, you're back at the house. That's the only thing that kind of sucks for some of these guys. But what you guys take, man?
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, when you break down these top quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, I think we already know where he's going. Drake May, Jaden Daniels, I think they're gonna flip-flop to me. I think Jaden Daniels is actually number 2. But go either way with who the Commanders are gonna pick, and then New England. But if we're just talking about JJ, I think I told you guys offline that with me being a Michigan fan and watching him and watching how he took over, you got to remember he came in and he was a backup quarterback to a quarterback that was our starter and ran us deep within the playoffs, but couldn't get us over the hump. Basically, there was nothing dynamic about him. But JJ came in, and when I say took the job. Like every single snap that he would play, you'd be like, I don't think he's the backup anymore. It was like that, one of those type of situations. It's bad when you get injured as a starting quarterback and you see the backup come in and you're like, shit. Nah, I'm not hurt, coach. Just wrap that up. Let me back on the field. That quarterback never got on the field, so much so that he switched schools. And then JJ took over.
Yeah.
I told y'all offline also that more than even his like throwing arm and all that type of stuff, what impresses me the most about JJ is his mentality reminds me of a mindset like Burrow. And it's scary. He has this winning mentality that nobody is better than me on the field at any time. I don't care how my game is going. I can change the game through this one drive, and it's going to be done. And you can't teach that. There's people that's out there that have better arms, can run better, maybe look over the field better, but that winning mentality, that you know what? Yeah, I've been struggling the whole first half. Yeah, they're blitzing me in the third quarter because they think the game is over. But these last 2 drives I'm about to do in the fourth quarter, I'm going to be right on point. That's a JJ mentality. And like I said, you can't teach it. So do I think he's the 3rd to 4th best quarterback in the draft? Yes, I do. Do I think that if somebody really needs a quarterback, they should jump up and get him? Yes and no. Because I think he's a great quarterback to sit behind somebody else.
Gotcha.
At least for a year. And if you don't have that and you're expecting him to come in and be that guy, and when you jump up into the top 5 to get a quarterback, you're picking him to be that guy. You're not picking him to ride the bench.
Yeah.
That's where the situation that we always speak about, I just think that development of a quarterback like that is going to be lost. and media spears everything as far as how things are going to go. And the talk is out there. Hey, you got to get up to 4 or 5 to get JJ. That's what you're going to have to do. And I just think it's going to be a bad look. I want to see him succeed, man. I really do.
Yeah.
But I just think he may fall into a situation where it's not good. It's not good at all. So we'll see.
What you got, Earl?
Yeah, quite frankly, people may not want to hear this, but from what Dave was just saying, I don't think neither of these quarterbacks are pro ready. Like I think all of them all of them benefit from development. You know what I'm saying? They're Caleb, I feel like he might have the best upside, but the one biggest downside is his size. Like, you know, me and you talked about this before, Shawn. You know, he's undersized. Like, I don't care how you look at it, he's undersized.
You know, they go stretch his neck out, something like that.
Yeah, you know, he'll grow his hair a little bit, give him another.
If it says 6'1", he's 5'10".
Yeah, he's right. You know what I'm saying?
You got
Drake May, I feel like he's a reach. I feel like he's a carbon copy
overrated.
of a. Yeah, he's very overrated. I think he's a carbon copy of a couple of other you know, QBs. I think Daniel Jones, he's a carbon copy of him in some sense. You know, but again, he ain't somebody that I'm gonna feel all the way happy about or feel confident to take over, you know, a team. And the same thing with Jay and Daniels, like, you know, so it's, and I can even say the same thing for the other ones, like Bo Nix.
Penix Jr.
Actually, you know, I actually think probably the best, and he would still benefit from development is Penix. You know, I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. I think one of his downsides
sit off of injuries,
is he's injury prone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think he's probably the most complete quarterback in this draft. But again, like
Bo Nix already played a NFL career.
Right, he did. So Bo Nix did. Milton from Tennessee. I mean, shit, Milton like damn near 24, 25. Like I was looking the other day. I'm gonna say he's been in since like 2018. You know what I'm saying? I think he was with y'all. He was with Michigan for a minute. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I just personally don't think that as any of these guys are kind of in that position. I hope that these teams, now granted, I understand the Bears, you know, the way that the move that they made, unfortunately, Caleb is going to have to come in and be that number one person. But
who's their backup?
I don't even know. It ain't nobody that's going to take the number one spot. I'll tell you that.
Gotcha.
But I hope that with, you know, Jay and Daniels, I feel like Jay and Daniels has a possibility. I hope he does go to Washington, because I feel like if he goes to Washington, he may have a chance to develop there. You know, he may
Badger.
Okay, so exactly, he may have a chance to go there because who was the cat that's there right now? Was it Hal?
They got Marcus Mariota.
No, the other guy.
Hal's traded out.
No, yeah, they traded him.
Oh shit! Never
in Seattle.
Never mind.
So
yeah, that's why we took Drew Lock, because he went over there.
Never mind. So I'm sorry. So actually, all three of these QBs are kind of fucked because nobody has anybody they can develop under. So they're all fucked. Actually, if JJ came to the Giants, I would be upset if he did come with the 6th pick. But if JJ came to the Giants, he'd probably be in the best situation because he can actually develop for us.
I'm not upset at the 6th pick.
I
am upset if they trade up
to like the
and
2
give up pick. So I will be pissed off. You hear me?
Yeah, I am. I'm upset with the 6th pick only because at the end of the day, we have another year with this fool. I'm sorry, let me not call him name. We have another year with DJ. And I ain't gonna hold you. You know who the real prize? He ain't coming out this year, but next year, I feel like the real prize is Shiloh. I mean not Shiloh, Shador. Shador is actually nice, and Shador is polished. And let me give you just let me give you an upside.
The bulk up a little bit.
I'm not even because I know the Giants ain't picking him. And if his daddy got something to do, his daddy got something to do with it. He ain't coming here because it's a cold area, and I just know he ain't coming here. But what I was looking it up the other day, and I realized I was talking to my guy, and I was like, "Yo, y'all realize that ever since Shador started, he's played under a different offensive coordinator every single year?
Yeah.
Like legit every year. And if you
But
want to
that
look at it,
prepares you for the NFL.
but that's what I'm saying. And,
You know who else
and
is like that, Earl? And then you can go Bo Nix.
yeah.
He played under, I think, 4 or 5 different.
But he's also been in the league for 10. I mean, he's also been in college for 10 years.
But
so
you're ready. You're ready.
You know what I'm saying? But I, you know, and if you want to even count last year, where in some ways you could argue and say that he had to learn from 2 different offensive coordinators, because he started off with the one dude, I forget, he took that job. I forget what school. And then like mid-season towards the end, they kind of came in with Pat Sherman. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, that's a feat in itself, and was able to adjust. You know, now granted, the biggest, and he still was able to perform under pressure, and he was the most sacked QB in all of college football.
So
You know what I'm
learn
saying?
a different playbook year after year after year is tough.
Right. To be hit, to know you're going to get hit, like you're going to come out, you could buy your offensive lineman anything they want, but it's just like, yo, fam, like you just don't have the ability. It's cool. I know I'm going to get hit, and to still be able, for the most part, from the hits that he took, to be able to get up and he's the real.
I remember watching games and we felt sorry for Shador at the end of the game. Like,
bruh. I mean, even them 2 first, the game against Washington, like the game against Washington, the game against Nebraska, like he got hit. You know what I'm saying? Like he got hit. You know, and I would say like the biggest knock on him for me, because I've literally watched every single game, and I've been paying attention to him at Jackson. The biggest issue for me is the fact that he holds on to the ball so long. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing that he just got to work on. But
that's reminiscent of Lamar Jackson, right there.
Yeah,
because you're trying to make the play instead
make
of
something happen. Yeah, just let it work.
The one downside to, and I see the argument on the Bo Nix side, and Michael Penix is only like a year younger than him, give or take.
He's been in the league. I mean, he's been in college long too.
Yeah, when you play football so long, you become what you're going to be, meaning those habits are harder to break. That's the one thing. It's like when they're younger, they feel, okay, we can still teach them some stuff. But when they play someone like a Bo Nix, they're like, bro, you are what you are at this point. Yeah, you're going to develop a little bit more, but are we now going to be able to break some of those really bad habits? In any case, those top receivers, I think the person is the most pro ready is JJ McCarthy, for the simple fact is all of these quarterbacks, they do very well throwing the ball to the outside the hashes. That's what we were comfortable at. You know, everything gets a little cluttered and muddied in the middle of the field. JJ McCarthy, when he had to throw, did a lot of that. So I can see if he gets into the right system, to you guys' point, if he gets to a team that don't know what the hell they're doing, he's screwed. But if he gets to a squad that uses him the right way, I think he'll be able to make a lot of those over the middle type plays. He could end up probably having a career like a Kirk Cousins type. He's going to put up numbers. He's not going to be the guy to win it for you, but he's going to be the guy that's going to be efficient. And then you look up and he didn't throw him for 4,500 yards every single season and got, you know what? Just call Kirk agent, man. He got you.
Or Bo can have a Tebow career.
That's usually true. So in any case, all these
guys, Arch Manning. Sorry, get a shirt.
These guys are going to need somebody to throw the ball to. So that being the case, the top wide receivers, according to Pro Football Focus, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze, and that's just 3. After that, you got Brian Thomas Jr., Adonai Mitchell, Ladd McConkey, Troy Franklin, Roman Wilson, Coleman, Ricky Purcell, Jermaine Burton, Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk. I mean, this is Xavier Worthy, the guy who killed the 40 at the combine. You know, he set the record, 4.19, 4.2. What was it? Is that what it was? 4.21. 2-1, my bad.
Great if you're running track. Got hands.
I don't give a damn about how fast you are. I can't catch.
Yeah. Now
the thing is, at
Texas, he didn't really run fast like that. So he actually, his yards after the catch is kind of crazy. So he's might be one of the very few that I agree. And he had his daddy's genes. I agree. He will be that still. Who gets John Alt? Yes. Left tackle. This is a wide receiver draft that if you can't get a receiver, I don't know what your draft room.
It's heavy.
It's
definitely
they
heavy.
all got good size, man. Malik Neighbors is only about 6 foot. He could be taller, but Marvin Harrison Jr. and Roma Dunze, 6'3", 6'4", respectively. And then after that, Brian Thompson. I mean, these guys, you want height. You want guys that somewhere, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. When did we get into the whole short receiver thing? Was that a New England thing when they were just winning with all them short ass receivers? Because all of a sudden the league went to look at Hollywood Brown. He's in the Chiefs now. You know, these guys 5'10".
They're looking for a Tyreek.
Right.
And what people don't realize is Tyreek has hands.
Yes. And got crazy ups.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's different. Yeah. Like you can't just look for speed. Yeah. He's good at route running. Yep. He's good at catching the ball. He's very fast, and he can go get the ball at the top of his jump. Like that's an anomaly. You get what I mean? Like,
but I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it goes back a little farther than that, you know. But I think like you look at like go back to I always call him Lavernius coleslaw, but Lavernius Cole, you know what I'm saying? When he wasn't injured, but then you had like all of them cats with New England. You have Victor Cruz with the Giants.
Salsa.
I mean, those there is a place for them. You know what I'm saying? I think too the fact because they're in the slot, you don't want no big slot because they're gonna get hit. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have somebody that's in the slot that's gonna be smaller that I mean it's a little bit harder to hit. And then somebody who can take a hit. You understand what I'm saying? So like that's why I like all of these, all these guys, neighbors, Romeo, Marvin, all of these cats is like outside the hash. But one cat that I've been following for a while that I actually think he's dope and he has a little bit of Cooper Cup in him, pause. I think it's McConkey.
No Diddy.
Mm-hmm. No Diddy. I'm sorry, no Diddy. But I think McConkey. I think the only thing that messed McConkey up from really probably falling a little bit higher is that he just got injured. Same thing with Bowers from Georgia. Yeah. Like the tight end. Like he got injured, but he was kicking ass. You know what I'm saying? So
it's going to be interesting, man, to see who goes where. These guys, this could be it's going to all be based around system, man. It's going to be based around the system that they go in and how they're being used. So I think all of our teams are in a great position to get a receiver, even if it's not one of the top 3 guys. You can get them there. I mean, just real quick before we go on to the next top 3, at 6, there's not a quarterback available. So let's say all the top 3 are gone. Hell, maybe those top 4. So you got Caleb gone, Drake May's gone, Jayden Daniels gone. If for some reason somebody decided they wanted JJ McCarthy, who does the Giants pick at 6?
Let me tell you who's gonna be gone. Those 3 are gonna be gone. Number 4 is gonna be Marvin Harris. Number 5, who is at the 5th spot?
Chargers.
The Chargers. Okay, so they're going to go wide receiver. So probably either I think we kind of agreed it was going to be Romeo. Well, that's the name, Rome.
Just wrong.
So that leaves us with either JJ or Neighbors. Me personally, I want Neighbors. We need receivers. Okay. We need young receivers. I would have took Rome over Neighbors because he's bigger and he can he can catch in traffic. But we need receivers. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless of who's in there, whether it's Daniel Jones or whoever the quarterback, they need somebody to throw it to. You know what I'm saying? We got Hyatt, who I like, but they just underutilize him. We got Isaiah Hodgkins that we signed back. He's dope, but they underutilize him.
Gotcha.
Slayton, I think he's all right. They underutilize all of them. So we need receivers.
Some toy in your house is getting messed up, Earl.
This is kid upstairs.
That's all I know. Something is getting.
Who did they pick? Who did they pick at Dave? 6. I mean, 6, Dave.
If JJ is gone, I think they're going to take Rome Odunze.
Gotcha.
Who do I think they should pick? Rome Odunze. But
Yeah.
the talk is already out there. If JJ is there at 6, I believe they're going to get him because
Look.
they won't be talking about trading up to get anybody else except the quarterback. And I think that person for them is going to be JJ.
For the sake of
you be happy with that though?
I'll be all right at 6. I'll be all right.
To your point, Earl, to what you just said, for the sake of Rome, he'll be a great pick. For the sake of Rome Odunze, I hope they don't. Because if you just said they underutilize everybody, Rome Odunze be like, bruh, I don't want to do this if they underutilize.
Well, you know what? Let me touch on my most perfect scenario.
Right.
I've already put it out there before. They pick Rome Odunze at 6 and somehow package picks together to trade up to get Penix Jr. That is my most perfect scenario for the Giants. I don't care what they do with the rest of the draft if they can make that happen. Penix Jr. with their second pick and getting Odunze with that number 6 pick.
For us to get Penix, that means we would have to move up in the first round because he ain't coming out of the first. And actually probably got to move up in the first 15 picks because I don't think he's moving out of the first 15. That's gonna be hard.
I think a player would have to come along with a pick.
Yeah, but who?
I don't know. I don't really care.
No, you care.
You know who's not touchable. So
yeah, I'm about to say you care because it's a couple people that you don't want.
No, I said there's some people that are untouchable, but
who's untouchable?
Some of those other people,
who's untouchable?
Dexter, Thomas. Okay. Of course, you ain't gonna let go of Burns.
Mm-hmm. Is Kayvon untouchable?
I think he's.
You see that? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
No, I'm saying to me.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's
not really.
The piece. That's the piece of that. That's what I'm saying.
It's not untouchable to me.
I think he's untouchable right now.
Nope. You gotta give me more than 1 year.
Let's go into
Daniel Jones gave you a year.
Oh yeah.
Nah, it was a year in the pot. Well, that's because he had some help over there. So
let's go into a very controversial position on the field this year, and one that I'm a ride for. We won't get him. I absolutely want this kid in Washington, but there's a lot of debate around this, and there's a stigma. So the top 3 defensive backs in this year's draft, led by one Cooper DeJean. Yes, Cooper DeJean has a name. It's Cooper. So you already figured he's white. Quinyon Mitchell after him, Nate Wiggins. But Cooper DeJean is the best defensive back. Nah, forget that. He's the best cornerback. Because when they say defensive back, they mean they're going to try to put him at safety or some bullshit like that. He is the best cornerback in this year's draft. He got hurt before the championship game with Michigan because I wanted to see, when Iowa played Michigan, I wanted to see him play. And I wanted Dave to see him play too, just to see. The kid has it all. Good size, good feet, good speed, good hands. But the stigma on that is don't nobody draft white cornerbacks. I think the last successful cornerback was Jason Sehorn, maybe? Was that the last real? Because everybody else plays safety. What was what's the safety that was in Minnesota for a long time? I forget his name. My gracious. And he was Pro Bowl a few times. I think about it at one point. But yeah, there are no white corners in the league at all that off the top of my head, unless they play in special teams, and then they just call them defensive backs. But whoever gets in, Don, yes, I can see this absolutely happening because they do this type of stuff. Whoever gets him, he is going to be one of the steals of the draft by far. He's one of those ones you have to watch his tape and watch him how he played. Quinyon Mitchell, Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins is pretty solid out of Clemson as well. It's not a very strong cornerback class. This is going to be like more of a depth, anything like that. But what did you guys take? What did you guys take on why there's no white corners? I'm gonna ask the question. Why are there no white corners?
Because I told you my position on. I told you every race offhand off this platform. I told y'all every color Ray said I would like on my team, and I told you why. I would not repeat it on here. I would not repeat it on here. That's barbershop talk, but I would not repeat it.
Whatever you said, Dave, I ain't getting it right now. I ain't getting what you saying right now, Dave. What you say?
I said if this was a topic or a headline for you, this is gonna be the shortest topic for you because I'm not walking into this. Nope.
Yeah,
not happening.
Yeah,
it's
not happening.
It's just interesting, man. It's interesting to see how this will shake out. But this may be one of those ones where you see him on the field and be like, "Damn, we let our own biases."
All right, so I'll answer this politically correct. No, I'll do it politically correct.
Let me take my picture out of here.
Your question was why aren't there a lot of white cornerbacks?
Yeah, legit, yeah.
So there are a lot of white cornerbacks, but you're saying why they're not a lot drafted high or just
really, because there are a lot of white cornerbacks, but like drafted into the league, they usually turn them into something else.
Okay, so me personally, I just think it has to do, and it's not a general. Well, it could come out as
let me get ready.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I think the reason being that I think it has to do with athleticism. Because that is, you could argue, cornerback is probably the hardest position to play. Because you have to be backpedaling, you know what I'm saying, full speed against some cats that's running a 4.3, 4.2, 4.4, and it's physical in some sense. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't do that. And I think that when you talk about that position, like black players probably have dominated mainly because of, I think, just the athleticism. You know, every once in a while you'll get like somebody like a Cooper, you know, or Jason Sehorn who defies that, you know, those odds or whatever. But I think that's what it kind of boils down to. That's not to say that you know, they couldn't do it. That's what I feel like. I just think it's just an athleticism thing, and I don't think they've had enough white cornerbacks that has that level of athleticism that you need to play on that level. That's why I say, like, I feel like it's a little bit easier to put them at like a safety or whatever because it's less ground you got to cover. But you know, that's just me.
I'm with you with that. Now there is a stigma that comes with it. Eric Weddle, that's what I'm thinking about. Eric Weddle, he playing well.
But yeah, how long? But you know, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's not a lot.
Then they move him to safety. Was he? I thought he was a safety. So I don't even count. I'm talking about corners.
Yeah, this is all I'm saying. Like, there's no, like, that's what, even if they claim in the majority of his of Cooper's collegiate career, he played corner. He played all his snaps, 22 and 23. All mainly in corner. He plays some safety spots because but he's one of those guys. He's a football player. You can move him, you know, back to cover the field, like the corner. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. But yeah, your point is, and this is from me coaching football. I think there's a stigma that, and it's not as bad as the quarterback one, where, you know, now it's not as flagrant as it used to be, where, you know, if you were a black quarterback, they were like, yeah, you know, we're going to put you at, you know, XYZ position, or they just going to make you just a running quarterback. They didn't make you, you know, you are a running quarterback. It wasn't, hey, you're a quarterback. So, and that stigma was attached for a long time until guys proved them wrong. So, you know, not saying that Cooper DeJean is going to come in and change the world for all the white corners out there, but I think he may be one of the few who falls in that spot, a la Jason Sehorn, because again, there's not a lot of them. And whoever gets him, at the end of the day, whoever gets him,
you're gonna get a steal.
You're gonna get a steal for it, and maybe not a steal. You're just gonna get a player. You'd be like, damn, how did we pass up on him? You'd be like, okay. So, you know, that's.
I mean, he's gonna have a little bit of pressure on him because it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna say, all right, is he really like that, or is he just, you know, is he hype? You know,
the right team. I think if you go to a team that, you know, Don said in there, you know, I could see something like what the Eagles end up grabbing them, or a team that develops corners, perhaps like if he's playing in a Baltimore, or hell, he end up in freaking Steelers or something like that. I'd be like, damn, how? Again, you know, but I love to have him in Washington.
Yeah. But I think even you just saying the right team, I think that already like kind of puts red flags.
Well, because you have to be able to develop, you know, certain positions, if you don't go, look at Nnamdi Asomugha. He was already in the league. Remember, he was playing in Oakland, and he was if I'm correct, they had him playing more of a zone coverage. And then Philly traded for him, gave him all that money, try to make him a man corner, and you see how that happened. Look at Josh Norman. Come out of Carolina, come to Washington, see what happened. You know, all this stuff. It's like all players at the end.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, though, I feel like the best corners are the ones who can play in man. Like, I don't need no help.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't need no help, I don't need no system that's going to help me. You know, like, no, I can, like, Sauce gets respect because Sauce, he going to line up with the best one and he going to stay with him. You know what I'm saying? I give Jalen Ramsey credit. Like, he going to line up. You know, he ain't win every single battle, but I say his percentages is pretty high for the battles that he went, you know, that battles that he goes up against.
Champ Bailey, freaking one of the GOAT. Like that's
Yep.
you know what time it is. Champ Bailey, man. So it's
safe now, Dave. It's safe. It's safe.
Oh my God.
It was not the peeking too. Like it's good.
Yeah. So a position that both of our teams need, both Washington and the Giants and multiple teams, is a left tackle. And Don, he gave us.
We don't need no left tackle. No, we don't need no left tackle.
Don't need no left tackle.
We need a right tackle.
I'm sorry, right tackle. My bad. I should have said tackle in general. But in this case, the top left tackles.
Sorry, Giants
this year,
sorry.
Joe All. I can't even pronounce their names, man. Salise Fuagua, Troy Fuatanu, and then you got the other kid from Penn State right behind him at 4. What's that being? Fashanu. There you go. Those guys. Some very good tackles, man. Some very good tackles. Do you guys have a beat on a tackle at all? Or you guys for the Giants? Do you think other things are more important at the moment?
I think we can always pick up a lineman, but we are not going to do it with our 6th pick. Once again, let me say this to the Giants directly. We are not going to do it with our 6th pick. We have addressed the offensive line thoroughly throughout free agency. I want to say we picked up 4, maybe 5 offensive linemen, and I like their pickups.
Yeah.
But in the draft, we always fall flat with jumping out there for a lineman, specifically Evan Neal. So, yeah, I don't need a lineman in the first round. And depending on who they pick in the first round with the 6th pick, I probably don't need it in the second round, depending on who's going to be there. Line is as big as development as anything else as far as situationally and coaching. So I'm hoping that's going to be a change for the Giants in general because we switched up our offensive line coach. And I think that is way overdue to be done. And I think sometimes we miss the boat when we talk about coaching and we just go to head coaches. Offensive line coaches, running back coaches, all these different coaches specifically for position, they're difference makers. You'll see somebody go out and you'll see that next person come in, and it's a shame because they're so tied to the person that's ahead of them, like a head coach. And when that head coach is bad and they're gone, that doesn't mean I was bad. Like, did you see the running game? Did you see how my line blocked? You might want to keep me. But 9 times out of 10, if that coach is gone, all of y'all are gone.
Bill Callahan. Every team you go to, line is crazy. Every single one.
And if they do good, they ain't gonna get the credit. It's gonna be the head coach that gets the credit.
You know how that goes. You know how that goes.
I think I don't want none of these cats in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round. I don't want. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I need you to just understand from a Giants fan.
Okay, I got you.
We have drafted 3 offensive linemen between the 1st and 2nd round in the past 5 to 6 years.
Gotcha.
One of them has definitely panned out. The other one, this was his 1st year. So far, he was all right. He just got injured. And Evan Neal he's close to being. He ain't on the same levels as Eric Flowers.
If you can't switch,
Eric Flowers.
He ain't on the same level of Eric Flowers. But I mean, damn, he's about to be a strong 2nd in a minute if he doesn't have does a 180. So me personally, what that tells me is that you don't need to get an offensive lineman in the first, second, and third round. Like, I mean, well, it's first, second round. Like, you better be something spectacular. You know what I'm saying? For me to pick you up in the first, second round. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of the legendary offensive linemen and the Hall of Famers, they came in later rounds. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shit, look at Kelsey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, wasn't he was a later round or he was undrafted?
Kelsey, I thought did he go undrafted? No, he got drafted.
But he was if he did, he was a later round.
Because he got the sign off from his brother. Actually had them sign off.
Yeah, so he was a later round draft. So like you look at him. I mean, I look at the Giants of old. You know what I'm saying, with the Kareem McKenzie's and the Sneeze, O'Hara's. You know what I'm saying, like you didn't, and they was from Rutgers. And that goes against, respectfully to Rutgers, respect to Rutgers, but that goes against, y'all know, one of my rules. Like, I don't want no up north offensive lineman. You know what I'm saying? I want the Midwest. You feel me? But anyway, me as just a Giants fans, I don't want no, I don't want them to go that route. And while everybody's talking about wide receiver, quarterback, let me tell you something. I'll tell you right now. Me and Dave was talking about this yesterday. When we have football, when we have the draft, I'm gonna let you. We have a meeting before him. I'm tell you right now. If the Giants do some dumb shit like that, you gonna be on here by yourself.
Oh,
I'm telling you right now.
You better call up Gary as a backup.
Yeah, you better call Gary just to make sure. Call some people on the side, call Kaleo or something, just to have some backup. But you're gonna be on here by yourself because everything that I spew, it's gonna be what the fuck. Like we be in pick 20. Pick came up. So what you think about? No, what the fuck did the Giants do? Like what the fuck? Like you don't want that. You don't want that energy. Not on that day. Okay.
I got a good question from Don though. See, we're talking about that.
I hope not.
He's looking at all. You think there could be a trade with the Giants with New England from May?
Hell no.
I hope not.
Hell no.
I hope not.
Hell the fuck no.
Yeah, wait.
Because remember to trade up. You're not just trading your pick. There's something else coming with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So I don't see any of those people like that. May, JJ, any of those people. I don't see us having to give up.
Even if Caleb Williams by some striking the matter fell to number 2, he ain't even somebody that I'm like, yo, I want to move up for.
Yeah, those top 3 right there, they are going to, if they do trade, they are going to get a heavy haul. We're talking about a RG3 type haul where they're going to be getting at least 3 number 1s, bro.
And is it worth it?
And the reason why, just go back to Don's question, and I can see he's definitely in with football. Realize once again, and I said this at the beginning of the show, why are you doing that if you're still going to be in a similar position?
True. Yeah, so many holes.
Now, if you're a team that's bringing somebody in and it's about to be a game changer and all of a sudden you're competing, remember the division that we're in. Everybody's giving the Commanders like a B+ A rating, and they just flip script with their ownership and things like that. Dallas, even though they haven't done anything in the free agency, they still have their team there. Mm-hmm. We always see what the Eagles do each and every year. What move are you going to make to not even say somebody new is here, that you're going to compete in your division, that you're going to compete for the conference with the San Francisco and the Eagles and the Cowboys and Green Bay we were talking about in Detroit? Like, are they going to boost you up there? If not, why are you giving up all this?
Right.
Just to have something to look at? Like, there's no reason. Just build. We're not that team. We are not that team.
It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be a lot going on. We're about a month out. Roughly, that's why we did the show today. We're about a month out from the draft itself. So again, if you haven't already, And this show will be still available on YouTube and Facebook after the fact. And of course, you can see all of our posts and stuff from IG and everything else. First and foremost, make sure you follow us. Oh my God.
Follow us.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Hot Seat Podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube at the Hot Seat Podcast. And if you want to become a supporter of the show and get exclusive access to an event like the NFL Draft Watchcast, which is going down April 25th, starting at 7:30. Yeah. Go ahead and subscribe. Yes, I'm with it all the way. I am an avid Tar Heels fan, Jay. Make sure you guys go in and subscribe to the Hot Seat Podcast Plus. Join us April 25th for the 2024 NFL Draft Watchcast for all of our inside takes. Hopefully Earl don't go scorched earth and just leave us if the Giants make a bad pick. Again, if you're a Hot Seat Podcast Plus member, you may find yourself on the broadcast if Earl leaves from the show. So just let you know.
Jay, Don, all y'all get on that Hot Seat Podcast Plus.
Yes, go ahead and do it. Because we may need
include y'all in the show.
We may need you. Because look, there will be clips coming out shortly over the next few weeks about some meltdowns that might have happened between myself and Earl with some bad picks of our team. So, this year I don't feel no type of way who they draft, they're going to draft. But unless they do something idiotic, which would be kind of crazy.
As little as 3.
Yeah, as little as is it free? It's as little as 3. So you can become a supporter of the show.
Bars.
For $3.
Bars.
$3. That's over my contract. That's funny. But yeah, man. So again, for myself, Shawn, Earl, the storyteller. Yo, this is the Hot Seat Podcast presents Football Talk. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Subscribe to the show and all the other jazz. See you next time.